Quality. Right, let's go. Guys, welcome back. Ben Knuckleson UK. I'm with Nathan Pearce today to talk to. Nathan, how are you, pal?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really, really good. So, Nathan, what we usually do is sort of take it right back to where it all began. So, for you growing up, going through childhood, school, into teens, and talk to us about sort of where it all began for you and whereabouts you're from as well. And we'll go for it, mate.
Not a bother. Well, I was born in Germany on a British Army camp. My dad was in the army. Sent up Paderborn, over that ways. And then, rocky, to be fair, childhood. My dad, not a very nice man. So we moved along quite a bit. Moved back to the UK, and me mum and my dad separated, and then that was about one or two then, and then about three or four they tried things again, and I moved over to Germany with my old man for a bit while they were also like my little brother and my mum were transitioning over, because she just had the baby, so traveling wasn't too great, so it was me and him. And he not a very nice man, a bit abusive. And I think that is probably where fighting stems from for me. It was a period when we were over there. He was quite hands-on with the abuse, and ever since being little, I've had no real control on me emotions and my temper, and I just recently I've found out a few like mental health difficulties I've got from that. But yeah, that's where my story really begins, and where my fighting story kind of begins as well.
So what age were you, Nathan, when so obviously you said that when you were one or two and then they split and then tried again when you were about three or four?
Four or five when I moved over there.
And how long was that till then? Was that are they still together now?
Or no, sorry, mate. That was they came back over, and then we lived again in Germany for a bit. And it was when like it would happen when my mum was out the house, and it was like me and him left alone, and he'd get quite hands on. I was born with autism and ADHD, and so I was probably not the easiest child to handle. And he couldn't cope with it, especially when he got back from like Iraq. After that, my mum says she's seen the change in him himself, and that's when things got really bad. And then we moved back over to the UK, and they broke up permanently not too long after that, when I was about probably 7 or 8. So from 4 till about 8 was when I can remember that he was like that, and that's where the damage was done.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. I'm sorry to hear it. So did you ever have any sort of other father figure other than your dad? Did you have grandparents or uncles, or
Yeah, me granddad would probably be the closest thing you could say as a father figure. And when things were like bad at home as I was growing up, I was a bit quite off the rails as a kid, and I ended up in care for a little bit, and then from really like 13, 14, I lived at me nana and granddad's, and they took care of me. So my granddad's like me dad, as close as I'll ever have to a dad.
No, well, that's nice, though, mate, to hear as well. So let's say then, Nate, so let's say sort of that time when you'd be sort of finishing school age, 14, 15, 16. Talk about then, because we sort of getting involved with fighting. We were involved with sort of anything street fighting, things like that. And
But from very young, even when I was first moved back, I'd have fights with the kids down the bottom of my nana's street, and I thought it was great. And 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, and I was having a whale of a time. And my mum would walk past when I was about 8 or 9, and I'd be fighting all the kids, and she'd panic and be like, "What are you doing? Get off him, get off him!" And I'd be like, "Nah, this is fantastic." Like, I'd be like, "This is what I'm out there searching for, mum." And and then from there it progressed. I went to about 4 or 5 different schools, who just being wild. Like, anything you weren't meant to do was a great idea. So it'd be fighting, and then you'd go to another school and you climb on the roof and like sit up there drinking cans, things like that. Just didn't care. Had no interest in it. And with me mental health, I've had like borderline personality disorder, which is now called emotionally unstable personality disorder. But I never realised. I didn't get diagnosed till a couple of years ago. So I 1 minute you'd feel $1 million, like you just won the lottery when nothing had happened, and then the next half an hour you could be at rock bottom, like switching your emotions switch constantly. You've got no control over them, and that could lead like to manic episodes where you don't think about responsibilities or the consequences of things you do. So I never really learned anything in school, but I learned a lot about people. Every school would have a different kind of people, a different set. So you learn a lot about people and reading people, and like you find that certain schools you seem pretty hardcore, whereas when you go through all the behaviour skills and things like that, you maybe not be as far gone as like people that go to that school. So you never really find I fit in that many places, and I didn't want to at that time either, which can cause ructions when you don't want to go along with or agree with how certain people are speaking to you and things. So it took me quite a while to find my place in the world and where I want to be. And I started at the Unity Gym in Sherburn Road doing Thai boxing when I'd flitted between boxing gyms as I moved around when I was younger, and I had a few amateur fights, and then I settled down for quite a bit in Sherburn Road at that gym and started Thai boxing. And I really started to find my place, in a place where it didn't matter where you were from or who you knew or that you were new to that school. You found a place where you get your hands wrapped, you get amongst it, and you can be whoever you want there. And that's what happened with me.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. So you said you did, that was a Thai boxing gym. So the other gyms you'd been to previous, were they just boxing?
Just straight boxing, amateur boxing clubs, things like that.
And what was it, Nathan, that sort of made you pull towards Thai boxing as a difference?
It wasn't so much a difference. It was, I'd moved around a lot. So I was, I'd lived between England and Germany a lot, different places in the Northeast I'd lived as well. So I'd never had a chance to settle in. And then when we got a bit of stability where we were living, that's when I found the Thai boxing gym. And because I was around long enough to fit in, that's what drew me there. But they also do the boxing there. So I started as Thai boxing at that gym, and then started to develop my boxing by going, I'd do back-to-back classes. So I'd go at 4:00, do the Thai boxing class for an hour and a half, and then the Thai boxers leave and the boxers come in, and I'd stay and I'd do the boxing there, and then I'd stay for the sparring after. So it was hard to even get me out the gym from being young.
No, well, that's great though, because I can imagine there's some massive positives with that as well. I was going to say, how did that sort of affect you as being a teen, in terms of, you said you'd been a bit crazy off the rails growing up. You're then now involved in the gym, and it would have been so easy to have, be out on the streets with the kids causing bother. So did the gym help you in that fact?
It helped me loads. I found when I stopped going there, I had a few more situations happening, moving about. Like I say, I ended up in care for a bit, and I felt everything that all the work I've been putting in, all the discipline, everything like that had faded away. And then I ended up in trouble, and my mental health took a bit of a beating, and I was good. I won every Thai fight I had. I had a really good amateur record as well. And when I ended up injured, and it was going to be quite a long injury, and at that time, I hadn't got quite a lot of the diagnosis, so I'd never had the help with some of the things that had been like put in their place by fighting. So I found when I was out injured, that's when I majorly like fell off the rails seriously this time, because I was older. I was a bigger lad at this time. I had more confidence, and that getting all taken away, it was like I couldn't see past how long I was going to be out for. So then I ended up falling into, this was about 17, 18. So you end up properly drinking and going out and substances, anything else to keep the demons in your head at bay. Something has to then take over something then has to take over what the martial arts was keeping at bay. And that's when I massively fell off, leading up to the first lockdown.
Yeah, I was going to say we're sort of when we get into that point with lockdown as well, because I know for a lot of people with lockdown, it was either a really great experience or the complete opposite. So, so at that point then, Nathan, where you're leading up to that point in before lockdown, had you had any sort of proper bare knuckle fights before lockdown? Or
I've had fist fights, I've had unlicensed bare knuckle fights, but I've never had anything on the scale of what I'm going to do on Saturday. Quite a few amateur boxing fights, a lot of Muay Thai fights. I'd fought growing up a lot, and then these sort of underground bare knuckle fights where there's no time limit and you get paid after the fight. I'd had a couple of them, but nothing on the scale of what I'm going to go and do on Saturday, professional licensed venue, nothing like that.
No. And what sort of was it for you then that that managed to keep you in the gym and get to this point in life basically without going completely the other way and ended up, locked up yourself basically? Was that solely down to the boxing and the training, or?
To be fair, the gym helps me massively when I'm in routine and I've got goals at the end of it. That really does. That's been a saviour for me for many years without even realising what was fully wrong in my head. When my routine's taken away and I haven't got something to work towards, it's like a pressure cooker just simmering. And so I need the structure of a training camp and something that I know I'm going to better myself with. When I feel like there's nothing coming, I'm never happy. I need to know I'm working towards a chance to better my life completely, or in my head, it's as simple as there's nothing to work for, go wild. So I have to have that goal, that next thing that I want to do. It used to be a holiday. I had to have holidays booked, and that would keep me in the gym. And then when I had my little girl, and all my mates, everyone knows I can fight. I'm a good fighter. So for ages it was, well, you've thrown the best thing you're good at, you've thrown it away. All you had to do was wait for your injury, and instead you've gone down this path of partying and criminal activity, things like that. And so to me, it's always been, I was the guy, like, for example, the footballer who hurt his knee. Like it was all these stories of fights I'd had and potential, and you'd be in the kitchen on a weekend chatting the same bollocks to your mates of what could have been. And then I had my little girl last year, and that was it. I had to find some way back into the fight game, because if I don't give it another go, knowing what I've got in both fists, then I'm just another wasted story of what could have been. And that it eats me up more than anything. And that's what drove us to get back into this. And then I came across this through a mutual friend who had his last fight on the last the Bradford Hotel, the last event that was on, Darren Clark, and that was it. I had a chat with him. I spoke to Christian. I got involved because I know when I put my mind to it, what I can do, be it a ring, be it hay bales, be it unlicensed under a bridge. Like, I know what, when I'm focused, is there. And this 24, there's people fighting 35, 39. I'm still young in this game, very young in this game. And that excites me. And that I don't hardly drink. I definitely don't party anymore. Training more times than I probably should. I should probably have more rest days. I'm ready. This is the start of something big.
No, respect to that, mate, massively. So let's just go back, Nathan, slightly then. Before your daughter came along with when COVID hit and the lockdown, how did that affect you at that point? And what sort of mindset were you at going into lockdown?
See, I still live with my nana and granddad back then, so I took it quite seriously because they were old and that was all you'd hear is that's who it was affecting. And at first, great. It was, you'd wake up, you could have drinks, the sun was shining, it was lovely. But then that quickly slumped into everyday drinking and my mental health took a big beating. To then I was doing video fitness classes, like intense cardio classes, things like that. And it was really a time to refocus. Being that I still live with my nana and granddad, I had to take it quite seriously and adhere to the rules because we didn't know what it was back then. So at first, where it was eating me up being stuck in the house and I was just self-drinking on my own, chatting, you'd video call your friends and drink, it became a chance of, there was nothing else there. Let's do something positive instead. So I got into my fitness and then it was a big hype. But then after lockdown, I went wild again because it was freedom that we hadn't had. And I went really wild, partying, things I shouldn't be doing. So then I had to rein it in from there. So I felt every side of the lockdown, the highest negatives, highest positives. It was a whirlwind.
And when you say you had to sort of rein it in a bit, I'm guessing around that time then your partner fell pregnant and
yeah, we around that time we got together and it'd been a bit crazy, and then we had a miscarriage and I knocked it off. We had a miscarriage not long after lockdown. And that shook things up properly. And after that, that's when I had the wake-up call. That's not what I want anymore. I took it really bad for 6 or 7 months. Ended up getting in quite a bit of trouble. Probably the most off the rails I'd ever been. And there's still fallout from that now that I'm navigating. I can't say too much about that. Oh my God,
yeah, no, don't worry, mate. Don't say anything.
Sorry, I've knocked it off there. There's not too much I can say about that at the minute, but that was then the wake-up call because we fell pregnant after that, and I thought if I don't change things now and go for my dreams rather than I either go for the one thing I know could change me and my family's life forever, which is succeeding in the bare little world and going to my limits fighting, or I was going to go completely the other way. So to get in and speak to Christian and get something lined up, which meant I get into a training camp, which meant I cut everything out, all the nonsense. This is my first fight. That has been a true blessing for me and for my family.
It's getting those steps in place, isn't it? So you know what you're working towards, and then you can hit those goals, and exactly. As you go along. I think there's a lot of people like that in ordinary life as well that have to have something to move forward to get through the sort of daily grind, and so you're definitely not alone on that one, mate, at all. What can you tell us then, Nathan, about Saturday and who are you fighting, your opponent?
So, this has been a madness. This is, I think, the fifth or sixth opponent, Derwin Brooks. I watched the tape on him. Big set Welsh lad. I think he was the Welsh heavyweight champion in boxing. Uh, he's sold his tickets and he's come, but I've had a right nightmare from the first lad through the two ended up fighting Derwin. We've both been put together because of dropouts. It's just crazy. A lot of people like to talk with the mouth rather than actually talk with the hands. So I've been preparing for the who's who, different body sizes, different heights, different. Oh, it's been crazy, but this, God bless, God willingly, fucking, this will be the last one. I've had lads sign up to fight me and then take an easier opponent or a perceived easier opponent who has a few losses on the record. People would tell you the sun will have burnt you. But no, I've watched the tape with my coach on him. Good boxer, but it's not boxing, it's pit fighting. And he hasn't been in there with me. He's been in there with as many people, but he's never been in there with me. So confident and just hoping he shows.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Christian and Simon get some good lads. To be fair, some good fighters, and I think he'll be there. Usually, Christian, there shouldn't be any problems. I don't think for people no showing or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a good fight, be an interesting one.
Definitely.
So, where do you see yourself then, Nathan? Where sort of would you like to see yourself in maybe 12 months down the line, 3 years, 5 years?
Have this fight, win convincingly. And I've said, being my coach, have both sat down and said, title, that's it. Straight for a title. Whether that's win convincingly. What I'd like to do, win convincingly, have another in December before the year, and then my third fight, go for the title. Whether that be whoever it is at the time, or depending on where other people end up with their fights. Gary Slater, Ben Waddington, whoever wins that, get the European before going for the world. That sounds good.
That's a decent. I'm looking forward to that one as well. To be
That'll
fair,
be a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to be there on Saturday as well, mate. So it'll be nice to meet you there on Saturday.
Definitely, brother.
So where do you think? So you're going to look to mix it up, obviously. Get the W's behind you and the experience behind you as well. And yeah, I mean, it's a great platform, to be fair, that you are going onto as well. Christian, Christian and Simon know what they're doing, and there's a lot going on at the minute, which is really exciting for them and for everyone that's into bare knuckle, and the fighters and the supporters as well. So yeah, no. So guys, what you can do as well, if you need tickets for Saturday, we'll put the links in the description as well, where you can get tickets. It's going to be a cracking.
Not one to miss.
No, the fight card's fantastic. I'll put the fight card in if I can as well. So the fight card's attached, but there's some absolute bangers on there, to be fair. So it's going to be
last ever outdoor bare knuckle fight as well. Last ever one, which is, that'll be a rarity. If Christian's not putting them on, I'm not sure that there's going to be many other, not in the pit environment either. Or it'll go off 17 good fights, 7 of them eliminators and world title fights. It'll be not one to miss. It's going to be scorching weather as well. Drinks will be flowing, atmosphere will be banging, and you're going to knock the Welsh lad out as well. Can't complain.
No, it's gonna be a fantastic day, mate. I'm looking forward to it, and it's it's quite good because it's worked really well. I've had my little boy for the summer holidays, and he's only just gone back, so that means now daddy can go and go enjoy himself a bit as well
De-stress
and
for
go
a bit.
yeah,
De-stress for a
yeah.
bit.
But it's a good lad. He'll be going at some point anyway. He wants to come along with me at some point to one. So I think that maybe the next YouTube was which Simon's going to be doing in October probably. But yeah, he loves it. He loves it as well. I mean, he's got boxing gloves and he plays about and fight. But he's only 6 anyway, so
That's
he's a
it.
young lad. But
Inspiring the
oh well,
next generation.
yeah. So if you is it just your daughter then, mate, that you've got
Just
kids
me
wise?
little girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just gone 6th of August.
How did that sort of change you then? So obviously you've said about the problems that you've had with mental health, because actually becoming a dad and seeing her there holding her for the first time, and how was that?
It rocked my world, to be fair. To go through your own emotions and then never have that serious father role model. I've learned it all myself, really. And that gives me more. You can procrastinate a lot when it's you that's suffering and it's your own issues. But when you've got a little girl that's dependent on you, that's the purest form of motivation that you could ever feel. You're not then fighting for yourself or doing what you're doing for yourself. You're doing it for someone that can't do it for themselves and looks up to you almost like godlike. You are their everything. And that is the motivation, not procrastinate and be like, all the success I could have would be for her. So using my God-given talents and what I've been gifted at doing isn't about me anymore. So that there's no excuses anymore. If I fail, then what else is there? So it's put. I'm a completely different man when she was born. Completely different. Yeah, it's changed my life more than people say it, and you don't believe it till it actually happens. It's given me everything. It's the power behind me.
It's the most amazing thing, isn't it? And I mean,
Absolutely.
I've had the same thing, and I've got the most unbelievable. I mean, me and my son's mother aren't together anymore, so we're like separated but sharing parenting.
Yeah.
But my time with my son that's my world, that's everything to me. And it's almost like someone just clicks a switch when you become a dad, and your whole life changes, but for the better. It's all for the better.
Always for the better.
So I hope that as well, mate, with with having your daughter, and then your ambitions as well within bare knuckle. And like you say, you're very young in terms of fighting as well. I mean, there's plenty of people fighting at 40 and early 40s. So you've got everything's your oyster, basically.
Everything. Completely.
And it's all in your hands, Nathan. So where do you draw your strength from? Obviously, your daughter.
Everything I've been through as well. I was forged in my fire. Some of the things I've seen and experienced as a kid, they're just the most disgusting things you could ever subject a child to. But it's not a sob story; it's a power story. I wouldn't be me if I didn't go through the trials and tribulations that I've been through. And unless you've been through the trials and tribulations I've been through, in my eyes, you're not going to be able to dance with the devil and fight fire with fire when we're in there. You've got you master pain, and once you've mastered pain, then there's not much else in your way. If you've got the skills and you've got the heart, everything I've been through, I believe in destiny and fate massively. I think everything happens for a reason, and you've got to go through everything that you go through to get to where you're meant to be. And when you finally find what it is you're meant to be doing, that's when it all clicks. So the stuff with my dad and growing up, and then eventually beating me dad when he tried to bully me, that was a massive thing. Because that was the biggest monster in my life. And when I put him down, it was like, well, what the all that fear that I'd had, all that when someone's that much bigger and that much older and stronger than you, and you look at them how you look at your dad, and they do that to you, it's terrifying. And then when you actually put them down and put them in their place, you think, what was I ever scared of? And once you've beat that demon, and then you keep battling the demons in your life, and you keep winning, and then you finally find out what you're meant to be doing, you see that everything builds you towards where you're meant to be. And then to have my little girl younger after having the miscarriage and realizing how much I was ready to be a father, and then having her and all this falling into place, it's not just me going in there, it's God's plan. And that's all the motivation I need. Like, I know I'm on the path that I'm meant to be on. I know that this is my journey. All I've got to do is my very best to vanquish each person put in front of me. The title and things like that, they will just come along with the journey. Like, I know where I'm meant to get.
Yeah, are you somebody that you can already picture it ahead, and then
that's it. I know the path, and as long as I do my very best, nothing has stopped me getting to where I want to be.
What about training, Nathan? How's training been and training camp? What's your week been like?
Tonight is my last official night of training camp. Last pad work, circuit, and then it's swimming, saunas, resting all the way up until Saturday. I'm lucky. My coach does it singularly, so I have a very, very big dream, small camp. I've got 2 sparring partners and my coach, and they'll fit it around me, which I'm lucky and blessed to have. So, yeah, it's been very circular, like self-based, just for myself. I've sparred when I need to spar. I train when I need to train. It's a regime, and it just works perfectly, and it's all based around me to get me to where I'm going to be.
And do you want to give them a shout, mate? Who's the coach in the gym and stuff?
I do. Jake Christie. He does PT lessons as well if anyone needs it. And he will find a way to fit you in and do one-to-ones with you, give you the training you need. Me sparring partners, Cameron DL and Lewis, they've sparred when we need to spar. They also work, so they've fit it around their work and things like that. I couldn't thank them more. I tell them all the time, like, without them, I wouldn't be able to get the training I need to be done, and I wouldn't be as focused around me. So I owe them a lot, and they'll be out celebrating with me after the victory on Saturday, living it up. So yeah, I wouldn't be me without them. And that's as simple as that. You are who you train with, and you are the people you keep close around you. And I've got 3 brothers right there.
And you know now as well, like I completely agree with you in terms of I feel that sort of things happen for a reason, and
absolutely
in exactly the same way. So it's good to hear as well when you think about it, and we've not gone into great detail, but things like the child abuse, which I think a lot of people will actually be able to relate to as well, sadly. But what you've done is you've managed to overcome that, and you could quite easily have gone down a path where you're wasting away in a prison or addiction to drugs or anything along those lines, basically. But instead, you've managed to find a different path, and which now has led to your daughter and actually, becoming the best version of yourself. And now you can actually see where your dreams are and the way you want to achieve them as well. I think that's a massive inspiration that can be to a lot of people. Yeah, definitely. So respect for being open and honest, Nathan, and sharing that with us as well, because all of these stories which people have, everyone's got their own story.
Always.
And whether it's drugs or whether it's fighting addiction, abuse, whatever the past, and what can happen with everybody's story as we share them. And once we talk and once people open up and speak, and you've got bare knuckle fighters, some of the toughest men who are coming out and sharing and speaking openly. And I think the big message so far, which I've learned, is for people just to speak up and open up, and there's always someone there,
100%. It's been close. Like I say, I've got criminal things to finish off. That'll be the end. I'm on the right path now, but it's been very close. Drugs, like when you've got nothing else to numb the things in your head, sometimes you end up down that road, and they're things that I've had to put away now to carry on and get to where I want to be. And that's why I'm so open, because if we can go through it and come out the other end, all I want is the best for me friends, for everyone, to find the best version of you, to find the gym and things like that that when you think that those dark days don't just go away straight away, but you end up going to the gym and you start like that, and that becomes a release rather than you taking the drugs or committing other crimes to get that buzz and excitement. And then you find the people you meet in the gym that you end up then talking to outside. You've got to push the whole life in one direction, or you will just teeter and totter between them both. And if by me opening up on this podcast, people might have been going through the same things, dealing with it the same way, can see that even if you don't end up being a bare knuckle fighter, because obviously that isn't for everyone, but you find fitness, and once that catches on, that can be at least one gateway into a different mindset, which then leads to different actions, which leads to different results. And once the results start coming, it becomes so clear which way to go.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, in reality, there's some people that are struggling that badly, whether it's with the mental health or their addictions and things. They can't even drag themselves out of the bed. So,
exactly.
No one's saying that you need to take it to like these great heights.
No, not at all.
Those little steps, isn't it? And if you're working towards getting yourself out and about, and then you can get into the gym, or even if even if it's just going out and having a jog around the park, or something like that, it will make a world of difference.
For sure.
It's just making those first steps for some people that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
But there's always people. Yeah, there's always people to speak to, and I'm sure Nathan as well in your situation. You'd be more than happy to speak to anyone if they were struggling.
Of course,
as well.
Absolutely. My inbox is always open, and if you'd rather speak on the phone, send me a number, and I'll get in touch with you, because the hardest thing is to reach out, and I would never be the person that someone reached out and I shunned them away. I'm there for anyone at any time. Just give me a chance and I'll get back to you, and I'll give you any advice that I can. Absolutely.
Listen, guys, I can't even leave it on any better point than that for myself personally. Nathan, is there anyone else that you'd like to give a shout out to? Or
just my family, my mum. I was never the easiest. Me and her both suffered at the hands of my dad, as did my little brother. And luckily, my little sister, it's not nice because he was never there for her, but she never had to experience any of that either. So just them three, my nan and my granddad, all of them for I would not be anywhere near here doing this interview or having my first professional boxing fight, bare knuckle boxing fight on Saturday if it wasn't for them when I was a kid. So a massive shout out to all of them, my coach, my friends who have, when I've been at my lowest, of Gav, Reed, my best mate, my brother Dylan, he'll be there. All these lads will be there at the fight, but me and Dylan have both in care at the same time. That's when we properly got close. We got each other through care. We've had each other through everything. Gav, Reed, my mate Reese, all the boys. Honestly, everyone. I said I was going to give everyone a shout out, so I am. They've picked me up and give me confidence when I never had it. I've been at my lowest, and they've drive me up through suicide attempts, things like that. All of them are going to be there Saturday to support. All of them know what I can do. Yeah, to anyone really that's been on my journey to this point that I'm still close with, and even those that I might not be as close with but have helped us, I'd shout out to all of them.
No, fair play to you, mate. I want to say, Nathan, as well to you, a massive thank you, mate. Massive respect. Really look forward to meeting you on Saturday and seeing you fight as well. It's going to be fantastic. I can see how much it means to you, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck, mate. And hopefully, everyone on Saturday gets to go home safe to the families,
Definitely.
and that's the main thing. So what we'll do, pal, we'll wrap it up here, and
No
I'll see you
problem.
on Saturday. We'll have the links for Saturday as well added to the description and to the video. A massive thank you once again, buddy, and we'll catch up soon.
Not a problem, brother. Thank you for the platform, and I look forward to seeing you Saturday. We'll have a little celebration.
Absolute pleasure, mate.